opening ceremony of the Paralympics takes place in Paris tonight, marking the start of 11 days of competition at venues around the French capital, which is hosting the Summer Games for the first time. More than 4,000 athletes from around the world are expected to take part. Paralympics GB has 215 athletes competing in 19 sports and go into the Games as quite simply one of the strongest nations. In Tokyo, Britain finished second in the medal table with 124 medals, including 41 golds. And this year, UK sport has set a medal range of between 100 and 140 medals for Paralympics GB. Our disability correspondent Nikki Fox has sent us this report.
There's a real buzz in the city. Paris is getting ready to host its second major sporting event in under a month. The party continues. It's time for the Paralympics.
Archie!
Hiya, good to meet you.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah,
Archie's so excited. He's already arrived.
You are in it for the long haul. You are staying for the whole thing.
I'm so excited. I really cannot wait for the games to actually start. We're all in that little bubble that nothing else matters but sport, and I wish it could be like that all the time, but it's Paris, it's back with a bang. We're all ready to get started again.
Someone who's been to more Paralympic Games than most as an athlete and a presenter is Tanny Gray-Thompson.
Right, Tanny, is this going to be the best Paralympics of all time?
I'm so excited about the Paris Games. I really hope it's going to be the best Paralympics of all time. London raised the bar, but I don't want it to be the best Games ever. I want it to be one of the best. But it's really important for movement, for the athletes, that we keep evolving. And I think France has the potential to do that. We're on the cusp of something really special.
Do the athletes sit around and eat tart tatin with a nice sweet little drizzle there?
No, you see, in competing days, you couldn't touch this. No.
In the build-up to the Games, there have been concerns from charities here in France about how the hundreds of thousands of disabled fans will get around the city. Money has been spent on making sure all buses and trams are accessible. There'll be more accessible taxis and there'll be shuttle buses taking people to and from the venues.
Wheelchair racer Sammy Kinghorn is going to be busy. She's competing in 4 events this year.
Yeah, I'm so excited to go in there and just hear that roar. I just want to enjoy this whole experience.
And more spectators will get to enjoy the competition because this year a record number of broadcasters from around the world will be covering the Paralympic Games. But Sammy wants to see more parasport on TV throughout the year.
Do you think that we are getting closer to sort of equality between the Olympics and the Paralympics?
I think we're getting there with some things. I think there's still obviously a disparity, and there always will be, I think, which is really sad. I'd love to say, oh, I don't think there'll ever be. I think we'll always be equal, and I would love that. But it's hard, I think, because we don't have the same sponsorship and the same money, and that's the kind of thing we're fighting for. And I think because we're not on the telly all through the year, people can't relate to us.
For the organisers, these games are a real chance to change attitudes.
We truly believe that it could be a revolution also for France, because that will be the first time that this country will deliver the Paralympic Games in our country, and maybe the first time that they will be also confronted to so many people with disability.
The Paralympics is a world-class, highly competitive event, but it's also an opportunity for disabled people to have their moment in front of a global audience. Nikki Fox, BBC News.
Well, Dave Clarke, Chief Executive of the British Paralympic Association, joins us now from Paris. Morning to you. Here we are, the day has finally arrived. Just tell us, what's the sense of expectation where you are in Paris today? How optimistic are you about how successful this Games might be for Paralympic GB?
Well, good morning, and we are absolutely excited. It is an incredibly sunny, beautiful day here in Paris. It's opening ceremony day. Happy opening ceremony day to everybody. And we could not be more excited. The build-up to these games has been really fantastic. We've got 215 athletes across 19 sports. 46% of our athlete cohort are female, which is the highest number ever. and we just can't wait to get going now with the sport starting tomorrow.
And Dave, this is your first as the big boss, isn't it? First Paralympics as the chief executive. What's it like being on the other side? You're kind of in charge now.
Well, it's an immense privilege to begin with. You know, it's a wonderful job to have. But I'm also very fortunate to have an incredible chef de mission in Penny Briscoe, who has been to a number of these games. Some incredible team leaders and support staff, but most of all, this wonderful cohort of 215 athletes, some of whom you'll know are household names. Dame Sarah Story in her 9th Paralympic Games, which is an incredible achievement, but also around a third of the team being debutants as well, so new talent coming through. So a huge privilege, a huge honour, but yes, I'm very aware that my role is to ensure that everything goes according to plan, but as I say, I have a fabulous team on the ground making sure that happens.
And in terms of numbers, what does a successful Paralympics feel like for you? What's the target?
Well, look, the sports, the national governing bodies who run these incredible world-class programs that get the athletes to this position, and ourselves have ensured that they are best prepared. We have ensured that the environment is right for them to give their absolute best at the moment when it matters. And it's also wonderful, this is in our time zone. It's just across the water from the UK, and we expect thousands upon thousands of fans. So, look, I think the targets are that we win well, that we perform better than ever. I think the context, though, is that what would have got you a gold medal in 2012 won't see you on the podium in 2024. So I'm absolutely sure we're going to have our best performance ever. What that means in terms of medals, that will unfold over the next 11 days.
Dave, we often talk about legacy from games, from the Olympics and the Paralympics, and what difference they make to the host cities. Paris, like a lot of cities, isn't particularly known for being very accessible. It's got a lot of issues that it's got to overcome. Have you noticed any differences in Paris? Is it getting better at being an accessible city?
Well, first of all, I think we need to recognise that no city is perfect for disabled people. Most cities are actually built without disabled people in mind at all. And that's why we're very, very keen that when anything is built physically or systems and processes and procedures are put in place, that disabled people are considered at the heart of that. I think we found that in London with the fact that there was a lot of work to do in London around the underground and around travel. And a lot of that happened before the Games, but also a lot of that's carried on after the Games on long-term projects. And we're very, very pleased that Paris is taking this really seriously, that the buses and taxis have been made accessible. But of course, the metro is something that remains a big concern. But it was wonderful to see the announcement that Metro for All is something that's going to be a long-term legacy of these Games. And the village itself, where the athletes are, is the most accessible ever, with every single apartment having accessible bathrooms and level access to every part of the village. So, look, this is a starting point, I think, but I think Paris are well on the journey.
And Dave, I know I was asking you about, what numbers, what medals, what's the target, but I guess at the end of all of this, real achievement, real progress would be if cities like Paris are more accessible.
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, there are two things important for us. Firstly, that Paralympics GB athletes are as successful as they can be. Secondly, that our Paralympic movement, which is a global movement, started in the UK, continues to drive change on and off the field of play. And if that means that cities like Paris can build on Tokyo and London and Rio and Beijing in becoming more accessible and including disabled people in everything they do and the decisions that are made at the highest level, then that's a real win itself.
Dave, so good to talk to you. Enjoy today. Good luck. We'll be watching closely.
Thank you so
Clarke,
much.
Chief Executive of British Paralympic Association. Thank you.